Camoose to there, guys. What is up? It is the Drag6 dude here, and today we are going to be talking about what the biggest problem with Modern Warfare is. And I know sometimes I make these little soliloquies about how I believe that this is bad because of this, or why this is this way because of this. And that's mainly what my videos are doing. That's a lot of my videos. I won't lie. Most of my content is basically the same stuff. Just trying to get the information out to you guys might be a little bit hard in my eyes when I'm trying to convey this info. Trying to show you what I know and what I believe is true. It might be a little bit difficult for me sometimes, but you know, I like to get my points across, and sometimes I say it repeatedly just so people know what I'm talking about. And in this instance, I am going to be 100% honest with you guys. I feel like 100% honesty is something that I want my channel to be about. It's what I build my character on. I'm not going to sit up here and tell you lies, tell you things that'll just make you feel better, like a lot of the YouTubers here. I could even make some sort of clickbait video about how, you know, the game's boring me to tears, because it's not. I love Modern Warfare. This is the best game I have ever, well, in the last year or so that I have started to play, that just makes me like, ooh, this game is so much fun. I don't even know how to put into words how fun this game is to play until you launch up a lobby with a bunch of tryhards running whatever gun's going to be overpowered at the time. So you could lump a couple guns into here. The MP7 seems to be pretty good nowadays. The MP5 is still pretty solid. The Kilo is really good. The M4 is really good. Now, you can even say there's a lot of guns that you can do very good with. There's tiers of weapons, and I feel like I need to make a video about the tiers of weapons right now. Maybe something like, you know how in basketball, football, they have like these tiers of players. Instead of like, there's the upper tier, the middle tier, lower tier. You know, just in the eras that sport has been around. Just to, instead of like a list where you can like debate who's 1 and who's number 2 and who's number 3, you can always put them on the same level and then just go down from tier to tier. I believe that's what we can do to describe a lot of the guns in this game, because they're not all overpowered, but they're not all bad. They're all kind of like on a tier system where you can use certain guns and where you can't use certain guns. And the problem about this game is not anything about the guns, because most of the guns are pretty good, but there's always that 1 or 2 guns at the straight at the top that are going to be superior to everything else. And if you're not using those guns, well, you're going to get shredded pretty quickly. Whenever you go around a corner, you always find this weird, like you're not able to ADS before you're dead. I don't know if it's because I'm getting older and my reflexes aren't as good. Although my reflexes honestly were never as good as, you know, to begin with. But whenever I play this game, the whole problem with this game is its learning curve it's out of this world. But at the same time, the learning curve is so easy, if you get what I'm trying to say. This game could be it's really easy for beginners to destroy really good players, if that even makes sense. Why is this a problem? Because when you're a decent player, you should be able to, you know, showcase you're a better player. And don't get me wrong, a lot of the other Call of Duties have this same philosophy, and now there's people on YouTube that are trying to disprove this information about how other Call of Duties have never had this, have never even dipped in this philosophy where new players can defeat really good players. Like, if you're a pro player and you're playing Call of Duty and you're playing an FPS, you're going to shred anybody when it comes to playing this game. But when you're running, if you're a sweat and you're playing against a guy who rarely, if ever, plays FPS shooters, it's an even playing field when you're playing Call of Duty. You cannot get that when you're playing, like, say, Rocket League or Rainbow Six. And this is why there's a difference between this game and Rainbow Six. And people calling this a Rainbow Six Call of Duty is, it goes beyond it's just clickbait videos and fake news. But when you're talking about the Call of Duty community as a whole, and this is the biggest problem, and I'm kind of going around it because I'm not going to call out people who watch my channel because they might be Call of Duty fans, and this video is pertaining to you people. Whenever I'm playing this game, I'm always having fun until that guy or that thing, person pops into the lobby who's using the overpowered gun of the month. And I'm just, it's fine. I'm trying to rank up guns. I'm trying to have some fun. I'm trying to work with classes, trying to make classes better. And don't get me wrong, I like using some pretty good guns, but I like to have a mixture. I like to have a different variety of weaponry to use when I'm playing a video game. I don't want to use the same gun over and over again. That was one of my biggest problems with Black Ops 4, because while there was decent guns, it always felt Maddox, KN, Damon, just the same guns keep shredding everything in sight. Even the Auger was really good. I enjoyed using the Auger for the longest time. But, the Titan was always amazing. But when you're using the same guns over and over again, and these same people are always complaining, well, there's not enough guns. Well, you're using the same ones over and over again. It kind of ruins your point of, well, there should be more content when when you're using the same guns. What's the point of having more content? You might as well have the same guns shooting at the same people with the same guns. You get what I'm trying to say? Gunfight is apparently people's favorite mode. I can't believe that a 2v2 fair gunfight is better than this, because it goes down to gun skill. What this game was mainly intended for, just being able to use your gun to its fullest extent. That's the problem with the skill gap in this game. You should be able to use almost every gun. If you have the right skill and if you know how to use the gun, you should be able to do just as good as everybody else using the great guns, these M4s, Kilos, MP7s, MP5s. These different guns that are just obviously shredding through everybody. You can tell that the people that are using these guns may not be the greatest in the world, but they're still winning these firefights. Alright? And that's the biggest problem. This is going back to the biggest point here. The people that are ruining Call of Duty, that are ruining FPS shooters, are not the developers. They have a hand in this, but it's not the developers. It's you people. It's you people that log into this game every single day. It's you people who get on this platform and talk about which guns are overpowered and why. These people who always put these classes together on YouTube that are ruining this Call of Duty game. It's never been about the developers, although they don't help. When you see that a gun is broken, don't get me wrong, there's guns that are good that should not be nerfed, should not be messed with. I think guns should be buffed, not nerfed. That's why Modern Warfare 2 was so good, because every gun was viable. I want that. I want to be able to use every gun, because even if somebody's using an ACR and MW2, you can use an M4 and still shred. You can still use a FAMAS. You can still use a SCAR H. You can still use a UMP, an MP5, a Vector. Every gun in that game is viable. I can't think of one gun, maybe the Dragunov, but even then, if you're decent at the game, you can still get some pretty good feeds with it. I mean, anybody with a brain cell can tell that most guns are pretty good at in that game. But in this game, when I was just using the Uzi. You can go back to check out that live stream. I was using the Uzi for the longest time. It felt like I was shooting pellets at people. I was not hitting people. It was slow. It didn't fire right. And maybe it was less attachments. But I should not have to put 60 million different attachments for a gun to be good. Alright? The attachments should make the gun better at certain things. It should not make the gun better. You know what I'm saying? Anywho, tell me what you guys think here about just this concept as a whole that people are ruining the game. And I'm not calling out you in particular, the one who's watching the video, but I'm talking about the entire community as a whole. Because if I'm calling out a particular person over and over again, that doesn't make me a better person. It just makes me like it showcases that I'm just blaming people as a whole. And if you notice, the gameplay in the background is me just dying over and over again. This was my first game back after a day or so of not playing. And the MP7 is really good. And yeah, that happened. Because, you know, camping in a building for hours and hours will just justify you shooting at my body millions of times. How dare I try to kill you? Anywho, tell me what you guys think here in the comment section down below. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Talk to you later.